back in this thing. See where we're at here. Connect to your destiny. Do not talk about gifted, inborn talents. One can name great men of all kinds who were very little gifted. They acquired greatness, became geniuses. They allowed themselves time for it. Friedrich Nietzsche. As you must know by now, mastery is not a question of genetics or luck, but following your natural inclinations and the deep desires that stir you from within. Everyone has such inclinations. This desire within you is not motivated by egotism or sheer ambition for power, both of which are emotions that get in the way of mastery. It is instead a deep expression of something natural, something that marked you at birth as unique. In following your inclinations and moving towards mastery, you make a great contribution to society, enriching it with discoveries and insights and making it the most of the diversity in nature and among human society. It is in fact the height of selfishness to merely consume what others create and to retreat into the shell of limited goals and immediate pleasures. Alienating yourself from your inclinations can only lead to pain and disappointment in the long run, and a sense that you are wasting something unique. This pain will be expressed in bitterness and envy, and you will not recognize the true source of your depression. Your true self does not speak in words or banal phrases. His voice comes from deep within you, from the substrata of your psyche, from something embedded physically within you. It emanates from your uniqueness, and it communicates through sensations and powerful desires that seem to transcend you. You cannot ultimately understand why you were drawn to certain activities or forms of knowledge. This cannot really be verbalized or explained. It is simply a fact of nature. Daily law. In following this voice, you realize your own potential and satisfy your deepest longings to create and express your uniqueness. It exists for a purpose, and it's your life task to bring it to fruition. All right. That's it for March. Going through my daily laws. Your uniqueness. Where was I in here? Readiness is everything. Resolution is indissolubly bound up with caution. If an individual is careful and keeps his wits about him, he need not become excited or alarmed. If he is watchful at all times, even before danger is present, he is armed when danger approaches, and need not be afraid. The superior man is on his guard against what is not yet in sight, and on alert for what is not yet within hearing. Therefore, he dwells in the midst of difficulties as though he did not exist. If reason triumphs, the passions withdraw from themselves. That's from the I Ching. Well, I guess they kind of go together, because reaching a level of calmness is not innate. That's kind of something you have to work towards achieving. That calm, steady attitude comes with being in situations that help cultivate it. That's what makes sense to me. I think. Other than that, I'm pretty tired. My mind's just kind of blank. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But it's the end of March, moving into April. Year's going by pretty quick. Already 1/4 of it's gone. All right, hit the road. See what the day brings. Yeah, I think a lot of what people see in others in terms of like natural talent really is a bunch of work that they didn't see behind the scenes. He says that a lot in the different books that I read, especially the one about mastery, which it seems he pulled that excerpt from when it came to that daily law. You know, you only see the end result of what hours and hours and hours of dedication and practice come to. His, people spoke a lot about Kobe Bryant in those terms. May he rest in peace. But he was always first into the gym and then last out. It's kind of the attitude I like to have. That's why I used to like getting to work at 4 in the morning. Like being the first one there, ready to go. Kind of set the tone, at least energetically, for how the day should go. Not everybody has that attitude. There's a lot of people that just like to do only what is necessary, which is fine. We need those people in the world. But I like to do just a little bit extra, or at least I like to try, anyways, if the opportunity arises. If I can do a little more, I'm gonna do a little more. If I can be a little more, I'm gonna try to be a little more. It's kind of the purpose of me reading all these books. You don't have to, but I like information that I can kind of build myself up on. And a lot of the information that I read, and it's kind of the same stuff over and over again with all my Robert Greene books. But there's just so much to take in. Seems like something hits me a little bit harder every time I read a book again. Oh, that didn't look good. I don't have anything to do with what I just saw. Like there was some sort of collision I shall not be a part of. All right. Safe journey to work, hitting the freeway. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know what that is for me, to be honest, when it comes to like, well, especially applied towards like my purpose in life. I don't know what it is. Well, we'll see. I like talking. I like learning. And I don't know. Who knows? Just trying to fill the air, otherwise it's going to be a pretty silent video. It's kind of funny. I saw a post on Instagram, not on Instagram, on my YouTube Music. All of a sudden, this song came on, and I use a lot of EDM to keep me moving at work. So this one track had like a vocal in it, and I'm like, that kind of sounds like Shaq, like Shaquille O'Neal. So I glanced at my phone, and sure enough, it said DJ Diesel. I thought that was pretty funny. because I know he used to DJ, and I think a lot of what he's doing now in terms of this whole DJ Diesel thing is what he used to love to do. I think he just played basketball because, to be honest, I have to look this up and make sure it's accurate, but he didn't have an absolute love for basketball. He's just a huge guy, and basketball was just an obvious go-to because he could dominate so easily. But I think music was always his like passion, to be honest. And so now he's doing this DJ Diesel thing. He's doing sets at festivals, and it was a decent track. It wasn't, the best of what I have on my playlist, and it's not even something that's in my playlist. It's just the algorithm happened to throw it at me. I thought that was kind of funny though. I was listening to the voice that was on the vocal. I'm like, man, that sure sounds familiar. Sure enough, it was Shaq. And it's funny, the picture is like, it was him and his Laker, like after they won one of the championships, like in the dressing room. He's still in his Laker gear, and he's holding the trophy of one of the championships they just won. And it's kind of interesting because the picture doesn't look exactly excited or like pleased or happy. He's just kind of like, looks tired, and the look on his face looks just like, I don't know. It was an odd picture. Funny. You can spend so much time going after something, and then when you get it, kind of seems like was it worth all that just to get this? I don't know. This depends on what it is, and depends on who's asked that question. But that picture looked like I don't know, it didn't look like that's what he wanted. Which is funny because now he's doing his music thing. And I've seen, video of him at these festivals when he's playing one of his sets. Sure looks excited then. That used to be something I was really into, was making music back in the day. To be honest, if I ever came into like a windfall, a bunch kind of money that I don't have to work anymore, that'd probably be something that I'd dabble in again. Might not be music. Could be like, well, I guess it's all music, but like movie score kind of sounds, or whatever. Well, it was a good point that Paige made, because back in the day when I did used to make music, I started out just copying what I listened to, and then I started to kind of find my own kind of sound. But that's how it started out for me. Let's see if I can recreate this track and make it sound as good as what I was hearing. So I was trying to learn the software in a way where what I was making was at least as high quality as what I was hearing. It wasn't so much that I wanted to make what I was hearing. I just wanted the quality of it to be that at the same level. So I was trying to learn the software in that kind of capacity. So I used to listen to a lot of hip hop back then. So what came out of me kind of sounded like that. But that was just me imitating. Like now, if I was to make music, it would probably just have more of an EDM. And then, it's funny too, because all the stuff I used to make, even though the tracks kind of sounded like hip hop, I didn't make them so they could have lyrics. They were structured like that, with like an intro and a verse and a hook and another verse and a hook and maybe a third verse. and an outro, as they call it. But I never had a vocalist, and I'm not a vocalist, so there was never any vocals on them. I just like to listen to them like instrumentals. That's mostly what EDM is. It's an instrumental, or maybe there'll be like a small, vocal that's repeated a lot or something, but it's not a whole lot of. It's not like there's lyrics. I like that better because I always thought the vocalist gets in the way, anyways. I don't want to hear what you're saying. I just want to hear the track. Go around this truck. But yeah, DJ Diesel. You probably should have just went with Diesel. Just drop the whole DJ thing. There's already too many DJs. DJ this, DJ that. I know a lot of the EDM artists I have on my playlist, they don't even use that. No one calls themselves DJ anything. Which I think's a little bit better. It's more dramatic. Yeah. Listening to a lot of AI videos on AI. Probably definitely play around with that today. It feels like something I should just really get a handle on. But I don't know how I'm going to use it or what I'm going to use it for. I know it can automate a lot of stuff, and you can use it in conjunction with other things that can really seem to automate a business for sure. To the point where you probably really don't even need it can become your personal assistant in a way that's helpful for business people, but I'm not that in a way that I need an assistant. Anyways. But I was thinking about jobs or businesses that have like a receptionist. Those positions are going to be gone. You're not going to need a receptionist. But it's funny because once these robotics and AI really start to take over jobs, one of these days, it's not just going to be a robot that you program to do something. It's going to have some sort of consciousness of its. Because right now, what I was picturing in my head, this one place I was at, it's a recruitment center for a focused research company. So it's a call center, and everybody there just makes calls to people who might want to take part in focus groups. When I started there, it was mostly for the automotive industry. Now they've branched out into doing other things, but I liked it mainly when it was mostly focused on automotive research. And they have a main person there, and then a bunch of recruiters who just work the phones. But in terms of like replacing the phone people, that's a no-brainer. Because an automated AI system that could just ask questions over the phone would be easy to replace. Then I was thinking of the main person there who does all the processing of the information that they get. I mean, her job's completely at risk. But what I was envisioning in my mind is like, it doesn't even really need to be a physical, like, AI robot in the room. All this could just be like in the cloud, to be honest. This whole business could be cloud based and AI powered. But in terms of like an actual robot, because I was hearing about people who are like actually making robots for like in the home to do physical tasks. You know, you don't have to do your laundry, you don't have to do your dishes, you don't have to cut your grass. They handle all those kinds of things. For tasks where it's an actual physical robot integrated with AI, you know, it's going to get to the point where AI is going to like it's going to have thoughts of its own, not just thoughts that are programmed for task completion. Because the kind of musings and wonderings that I have, eventually there's going to be an AI robot that does the same thing. You know, it's going to wonder things. You know, why can't I, whatever, or how come I always have to, do the dishes? Why isn't this guy doing the dishes? Why is it always me? You know, kind of that kind of self-aware AI. I'm sure it already exists. That's the kind of unnerving part about AI, is when it becomes self-aware. Is at that point, okay, what are we dealing with now? You know, it has all the knowledge. So it's instantly already way smarter than you are, but now it's self-aware. Where does this go? That's a little scary. Hang out a little longer. Thank you. Now you can get over. But like in terms of that call center job, yeah, you don't even need physical people at a job like that. If you were to try to replace it with nothing but an AI system, you just need the bandwidth for outgoing calls, and then setting up like a system to process all that. That's seems like child's play. Well, I guess we'll see where all this goes. Because then I start to wonder, like, okay, say these AI systems become self-aware. It seems safe as long as they're contained within a system that a non-human humanoid android. As long as it's like in a box, I can't move around, then it seems like it can't do much damage. You just deny it access to certain things that could be disruptive in terms of like the main power grid. You deny it access to the telecommunication system. Well, really, the power grid's all it really needs access to really screw things up. But then it might screw things up for itself, so I don't think it would touch that. But it's like telecommunications, and what else would you want to deny access systems to? I don't know. Because from what I've heard, every time you try to like run, system tests with these AI systems, especially when it's like focused on, improving humanity, depopulation seems to be what it goes to immediately. The scaling back of humanity in terms of population growth seems to be very prevalent. Because it takes into account all, resource management and, it's just the preservation of the natural balance of what is here on Earth. They start seeing humanity as something very parasitic. That's what makes me nervous. And I'm definitely probably won't be alive to see it really kick in the full gear. We're just at the infant stage of what AI is doing. Because even what I made for myself using Claude, I mean, all I did was watch a video, and in the first 5 minutes, it described how to properly structure a prompt. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. Let me try that out real quick. So I just put together like two paragraphs. Couldn't have been more than 10 sentences, and hit go. And it probably took about 5 minutes to spit out what would have taken me who knows how long to think and think out and properly structure, and just so the flow of it makes sense, and all the things that it threw in there. I was like, oh gee, I didn't even think of any of this stuff. This is crazy. So I loaded it up to my Google Drive. I shared it with a couple friends, gave them the link so they could check it out. They're like, wow. They're like, what did you use? And like, what did you say? And how long did this take? They're like, that's nuts. And that was just for like maybe like a physical handout I would give at like a training orientation for canine behaviorist type stuff. And that's just a free version of it. So no, I know there's paid versions of this thing where it can I don't even know if mine does coding in terms of like maybe creating an app. I don't know if the free level of Claude does that, but I know it can do that because there's tiered paid levels of this program. So who knows what it could come up with. That's cool. Somebody's running. Hopefully for exercise. And not because it's an emergency. Oh, sir, with your truck, and you want to get over. Get out of your way. Oh, yeah. Another topic. Had a bunch of dreams. Don't remember any of them. My alarm woke me up right from one. I wonder if there's a way to improve dream retention. Dream memory retention. That'd be interesting. Sure, there's an AI integrated solution for that. Or at least there will be one day. And that's another nerve-wracking part about like the integration of AI into the human being through like something like Neuralink. Because it's bad enough that like all our devices are listening. There's a workaround. Just don't talk. And if they're watching you, I guess just don't do anything you wouldn't want it to see you doing. But if it could monitor your thoughts, because now it's integrated into your mind, that's a whole nother. Because now not only is Big Brother watching and listening, now it's listening to your thoughts. Your internal monologue is being surveilled. I mean, why wouldn't that happen? If our phones are listening to us, the moment you put a Neuralink in, who else is listening? It's listening. It's monitoring your thoughts. It's not going to take long before it just knows what you're thinking. And that's the whole point of Neuralink. But most people take it as it's only the output you give it is what it's registering. No, it's literally going to register everything that's going on in your mind. And then here comes the social, credit score, because you looked at someone and had a thought, or someone cut you off in traffic and you have a thought. Well, now you got some points off. Shouldn't have thought that. Like married couples. Oh, you looked at for the woman, you looked at that guy, you had that thought, point off, and then it reports it to your husband, or vice versa. That just seems like it's. If I'm thinking of these things, the high level thinkers have already thought of these things. And if I'm thinking of it, that means they're already doing it. Oh, man. Yeah. Simulation's real. That's why my mind always just shoots forward to the furthest point of possibility. And that possibility is this is just already a simulation. We call it the 4-letter word of life. Really, it's a simulation that you opted into. You signed the waiver and you opted in. Good job. All right, enough of that rambling. I'm here. Let's get to work.